Hey traders, John Howell here. So, what's actually happened with the actual markets today? I'm expecting to see there could be possibly a bit of a support coming and a bit of a short-term rally coming out of the stock market. I want to share that with you. I also want to share with you the few markets that I see that are setting up for a potential really big move in the markets, and I think these are the next big moves to come. And then also going to be checking out obviously the gold mining sector and looking at that sort of stuff as well too. Also, I did a video this morning, my time anyway, and it was 3 a.m. this morning just before I went into the gym, and I recorded a video really opening up about my personal life and my personal trading and some things that I haven't really shared with you before, but I think you're going to really enjoy that as well too. So I'm going to put that on the end of this update for you. So one thing that I want to sort of start off with this video here is this. One of the things that I'm always looking for is I'm always looking for the next opportunity, right? See, if the market's already made a big move in the markets, right? So for example, if we have a look at say, I'm not poo-pooing on gold, right? I don't hate gold, but one thing I do know about markets is this, is that there's a bit of a teeter-totter that happens with the markets, right? You guys have been around, if you've been watching the markets now, say more than 10 years, then you would know this, right? So that, and what I'm talking about here is this, is that there's a bit of a teeter-totter, right? So that what has done really well as of late, say this year or the last couple of years, is probably not a good idea to look for new opportunities within that, right? Because it's already done well. And those things that haven't done well are probably the spaces we want to look to get into or look to see and check out because they haven't been doing well. There's a bit of a teeter-totter, right? See, what has done well tends to not do well, and what hasn't done well tends to do well. Makes sense? So there's a bit of a teeter-totter always happening through here. And this is what I'm always looking for myself when I'm looking at the markets. Now, when it comes to my trading opportunities, guys, I always just use my trading system, right? Every day when I'm trading the markets, I use the same system. It's nothing new across the markets. If you'd like to learn my system, I'm going to teach you. Just go to johnsfreetrading.com, or there should be that first thing in the description. Click on that, and you'll be able to watch a 20-something minute video, and I'll walk you through all the details to my number one trading setup that I look for every single day in the market. And it's actually quite a simple process because when I am trading the markets, I'm not guessing or hoping, right? I'm not hoping gold's going to go up. I'm not hoping the stock market's going to go down. There's none of that. I hope, right? All that other stuff, all I do in the markets is to stay calm, is to be patient and wait as long as I have to until my next good trading setup appears, which means my trading setup, right? Again, I teach you my trading setup on the first thing in the description there. But that's what trading is all about, right? If you're an active trader throughout the year, you're getting in, you're getting out, you're getting in, you're getting out. We need to use trading patterns, right? And so on the back of that, we need to know exactly what we are looking for. If you can start to hone down there, you are now part of what I call the 5, maybe 10% of society that does well in the market, right? 90% of people out there are not doing well right now because guess what? They're not really following any plan, right? They're just getting in on a whim, right? They're getting liquidated, and I'm seeing it all the time. They're getting in based off, oh, I think the market's going to rally again, so let me get back in, right? See how there's a lot of thinking and hoping and all that sort of stuff, right? I used to trade like that so much. And, there was one time there where I lost 50% of my trading account in one night trading like that. And I went to bed crying because I'm just like, oh, man, I just want this so bad. So when I'm teaching you stuff like this, it's like the only way to truly make progress in the markets long term, not just a short term, get lucky on a bull market or something like that, is we need to know the patterns. That's like, once you have a good trading pattern that works most of the time, then we just need to apply a bit of patience and wait as long as we have to, a few days, few weeks, maybe even a month or more for that next really good opportunity to come around. If you can do that, you're not only going to have a really good year, but you're going to have a really successful trading career. And that's the foundations to the right thinking and the right approaches to people that do 6 figures, 7 figures, and beyond. Make sense, guys? And if you'd like more help with what I just said there, guys, that's second link in the description there, guys. Click on that. Go click on the application form, and I'll walk you through my next sort of 6-month intensive coaching program that I'll be running, where you're with me every day for an hour or so, and I'll be helping you through the next 6 months. It's called the 6-month intensive coaching program. So if you want more hand holding every day for at least an hour while the market's open, then that may be a good fit for you. Click on that link in the description there, guys. Second link in the description, getjohnsop.com, and I'll be able to help you out from there. So looking at the actual gold from here, we can see that. So on the back of what I just said there, if we see what's happening here, right, the lay of the land here, again, not from a market update perspective, but I'm always looking at the teeter totter, right? That has done well, and there's the cycles to these markets. We see this through history. Everything through history goes through cycles. That what has done really well, and what was the main thing that was doing really well? What was the big thing that happened for the last 2 years? AI stocks, right? So if I bring up the AI stocks, which is the NASDAQ, right? And as we know, the NASDAQ, or even just the composite through here, let me bring this up here. If I bring up the NASDAQ and I blow this chart up here, and I'm actually just done some analysis through here, this is where you want to be. This is where the 10,000 foot view is really going to help you as a trader, and it really helps me understand. I understand the teeter totter. If I'm looking for opportunities to get into these markets, right, I have my trading setup, and again, I teach you that the first thing in the description there, so you understand my trading setup. But if I'm looking to get into something that's a bit more of a longer term, maybe I'm looking to get into something for a few months, maybe 6 months or 12 months, I need to be positioning myself for the next big move. Now that's either up or down, by the way. It doesn't have the big move for me. I don't really care. Like, that could be a big drop. Cool. Put options, short it. That's a beautiful. Big bull market. Cool. Well, here we go. So if the teeter totter in the markets is like that, and we see this time and time again, right? That what has done really well is probably not going to do well moving forward. And this is one of the things I learned from Ray Dalio lessons that I learned from him. And that was one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of amateurs in these markets make, is they think that what has done well is going to continue doing well. And that's one of the biggest mistakes there, right? Because that has done really well is probably not going to do really well. And we just see this through history of the way, just even the last sort of 5 years, right, of the NASDAQ. We saw since 2023 and 2024 was what? A very big bull market led by what? The AI boom, right? The AI, right? That AI sort of movement from there. And as you know, that was the extraordinary move. We saw this with a lot of stocks, didn't we? What is this? This is, say, for example, Meta, right? This was the Meta AI boom. And then what's already made a big move over the course of 1 to 2 years it's run its course, right? That's already made the big move. We missed out. Now let's go find opportunities that's likely to make good moves. So that was Meta. Even Amazon, right? Amazon is down near its lows to where it's been for the last sort of maybe couple of years now. Amazon, Google's another one, right? Even big stocks like NVDA, right? NVIDIA. Look it up in the video, right? Big move up, 2023, 2024. So the purpose of me sharing this with you here is that if you're looking for good opportunities in the markets, just understand the teeter totter, right? It's like, then if I'm looking to get into a market that's likely to make a big move, that what has done really well is probably not a really good position to get into for the next 12 months or a couple of years, if you're looking at that sort of time frame, right? Because it's already done really well. And we see this through the AI sector from here, right? So that's NVIDIA, even Adobe, right? Adobe's been getting crushed as well. So look at Adobe. Adobe's actually been getting crushed. So a lot of these sort of, big tech stocks, even Microsoft has been coming off as well too, coming off through here. So you see this through history. And that's why a very big component is that if something's been doing this for quite some time, we will experience these phases through here, right? Big phase up, couple of years, big phase down, a couple of years, big phase up. It's just the phases we go through. And the reason why I like this here is that's one of the reasons why, if I'm looking at any market out there right now, from that through there, That's one of the reasons why I'm personally looking at, and I'm personally really eyeing off big time, the oil market, oil and energy sector. And why is that? And that is because, as you can tell, that we really haven't been doing anything here as of late. We really haven't made a big move, right? And that's one of the reasons why I personally been eyeing off. I mean, really honing in on USO, which is oil, but the oil market from here is because of that, right? And then also, so that's that through there, and this is that through there. We're running up, so I'm looking for a really good opportunity on here. Because it hasn't made a big move yet, the best chances to get into something, and before it actually makes a big move, you want to be looking to get into that. And that tends to happen off the course of this through here. And the same for XLE. XLE for me is the same sort of situation, right? We see this through here. In fact, if I blow this up from here, we can see we actually had a bit of a squeezing through there. In fact, it's more like a channel right now. As you can see, we've got that through there. And we can also see that we have sort of that level through there as well too, right? So it's sort of like channeling right now. And the reason why this is important for me as a trader is because this actually could be getting ready for a nice move on the downside. And that could be the next big move to come, right? Again, for me, I don't care up or down. We can take advantage of that. But waiting for this. And the reason why I'm talking about this is that if I look at my last year's trading, some of my best trades were initially before gold actually broke out. So for example, if I bring this gold pattern, people think I hate gold. I don't. I actually took a lot of money out of gold. And now I'm just being smart. And then now I'm looking for other opportunities from here. But if you were around at the start of last year, you would know one really important thing. And that was, I was saying the exact same thing I'm saying about all markets. Gold has done nothing for all this time. And we're getting ready to break out and have a big move. Right? We're doing this through here, as you can see. We're doing that through there. Sync and layout. And then obviously we can clone this and we can come down through to here as well too. Right? So through there as well too. So you see that through there? So for me, I was eyeing off gold. This is when you should be focusing on gold, not gold now. Right? Gold now and getting into gold now is just, you're too late, right? It's already made the big move. When was I focusing on gold? And again, you guys can go back and check my videos at the start of last year if you want to. You'll be able to see that I was the exact same thing I've been saying about gold and XLE is I was eyeing off gold really big time through here. And then we made a big move up. And I actually had an amazing trade through there. Then we went sideways and then we had another very big move up and had another amazing trade through there. So I rode most of this up through here. I took about 70% of this move through here. And now we've been doing this through here. So, and then now people are jumping in on this, thinking it's gonna, and you know what, we could think about this blow off move through here. It is a blow off move. Two things are gonna happen through here. Two things to think about this move here. One, we don't know when this is going to end. So it can just keep going up. But two, due to the velocity of this big move up, when it does reverse, it's probably going to reverse violently. And unfortunately, as you know, the way the markets work is that you can see this thing go up quite nicely from here. From a daily perspective, as you can see, we can go up. Hey. But that 1 week, one really bad week out of gold can actually then wipe out, quite a bit of time, right? Quite a bit of time out of gold. So I'm not a hater of gold, guys. I'm just trying to get you guys in the best position of, let's actually try to look for the next thing that's likely to make that big move and try to own on those, right? And then if you learn from Ray Dalio, again, the teeter totter through there is one of the best things that we can learn from there. So that's what I'm looking at from there, from that through there, guys. If I show you looking at the actual stock market, one of the things I'm looking at with the actual stock market, though, is we're actually at a bit of a do or die territory right now. And the reason why I'm saying that is this. Check this out. If we see the actual, the S&P 500, we can see that we've actually been coming down through here. So there's a few things that I'm watching through here. So I am seeing that we had this major low to major high through here. If we can, you can see it came down. If we can hold above this 50% level and then start to break up, then we're probably likely to make a nice move back up towards 5,800, maybe a bit more, right? Through here somewhere. If we can't, then we're probably looking to see some more downside to come out of that level from there. If we look at the Dow Jones, same sort of situation, right? We had this low point down here, this high point up here. You can see where we are right now. If we do hold and start to make our way back up through to here, and we start to do something like this, and we start to do something like this from here, from that there to there, and then we break up, then we're probably likely to see a nice rally coming out of the stock market. And again, because the market is talking to us, right, guys? And this is one of the hardest things I see as an educator on YouTube is people are so rigid about their thing. Oh, market's going to crash, and that's all they think. But if the market starts to give us signals that the market's going to start to maybe potentially form an upward trend again, higher lows, higher highs, breaking past, if we do start to get that, then the market is actually telling us that our thinking is wrong. And so just be fluid around these markets, right? Just be fluid around how these whole things work. And this is just the indices anyway, you know what I mean? Of what we're actually looking at from that perspective from there. So, and even when looking at these very short-term sort of analysis here, let's bring up the Dow Jones. Again, short-term, we've had a rally up, had a rally down. If this forms a significant higher low, because remember, this is exactly what COVID did, right? COVID did this the exact same thing. What am I talking about? Let me go back to 2020. 2020, right? Where are we? Where is that COVID low, right? Look at this here. So COVID did the same thing, right? We had a bit of a flush crash through here, and then we pulled back a little bit through, as you can see. Look at this here. Pulled back, created that small little higher low, set it through there, and then away we go. So if we get something similar, we could be getting ready for another really nice move back up to all-time new highs. That could be coming as well too, right? So we just need to be alert for that. We need to be very flexible right now. No more. We don't need to be rigid from there, right? So that's the Dow Jones. If we go and have a look at, say, the NASDAQ, right? NASDAQ, again, same sort of thing, right? What was the turning point for the NASDAQ to start a big bull market? The turning point was this higher low, right? We had lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, higher lows, and then we started to bring this back to the upside. So if we do get what? A higher low here, and we start to rally back up, and we start to break above these levels, or start to break below that, it's like a break above these levels, we could be getting ready for more downside to come. S&P 500, same sort of thing, as you can see. So now you can see the reasons why I'm looking at this level here really closely, because the market will start to give us some early warning signs, and we never know what's going to happen out of these markets. But one of the important things we can do is flow with it, because if the market starts to develop into the patterns, and this is once again traders that are so rigid around the markets, around stock market's going to do this, and they're so rigid on one way. It's not like that, right? Especially traders. If you're a trader of the market, you can't be like that, because one week you're doing this, the next week you're doing something else. Right, one week it could be having a bearish tone to it, and 2 weeks later it starts to give us a bullish tone, and so on and so forth. That's a trader mentality, flows with the market overall. So that's what I'm looking through from there. Once again, if I go back to the whole COVID days as well too, and I'm trying to just trying to show you that there is things that the market will give us to start to give us a sign that maybe we found a bottom, maybe we're going to make a move back up to all-time new highs, right? Is that higher low from there. So there we go, traders. Hope this helps you out. I'm about to play that video that I did on this morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm going to talk a bit more about my personal life and about my trading from here. And if you are personally going through a bit of a hard time right now with your trading, then I know this next little bit I'm going to play for you guys is really going to help you out. Talk to you soon. Alrighty, traders. Hello, everyone. So right now it is... as you can see, it is, I'm not sure if you can see that time. Anyway, it's actually right on 3 o'clock in the morning. I got up at 2:30 in the morning this morning. I'm just so excited about the opportunities and everything that's happening right now in these markets and just in life in general. And I wanted to do this message for you before I get into the gym here. Now, by the way, the reason why I do my gym now is because my trading, the way that I personally trade now, I only look at the market when I'm doing my actual trading is the last half an hour of the US markets. That's when I'm scanning for opportunities, because I'm not looking for a lot of trades. I'm just looking to get into trades and then hold it for a few weeks to a month or more. Makes sense? And have a big profit. That's how I tend to do really well throughout the year,
is not day trading, getting in and getting out a lot. And then when that's the reason why I'm scanning the markets the last, say, hour, really, and particularly the last half an hour of the US market, because I'm looking to get in. I'm managing my positions. And again, I've always found, for me personally, that the easiest way for me to be able to get ahead of the markets is not to be very active. Because when I'm active, I'm emotional, I'm making bad decisions, I'm over trading, I'm revenge trading, and all this sort of stuff. And that's on the topic of this video here. And one of the reasons why I want to do this video for you. And because everything really shifted for me in a much more easier way once I started to understand the nature of like the trading and stuff like that, and it was sort of like a reverse psychology maybe. And when I'm talking about this here, right? When I first started trading, I always thought that, if I day trade, meaning I'm going to trade the futures markets, I'm going to be looking at the 1 minute charts, the 2 minute charts, the 5 minute charts, and I'm going to be trading those, right? Because if I trade those and it's futures markets or it's Forex markets, it's any of these markets out there. And if I sit in front of the screen, if I'm a day trader, if I sit in front of the screen looking at the markets for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day, I can take trades, I can make money, and then that could be my job. And if any of you guys are going down that path right now, and it's one of the reasons why I'm doing this video here, is to tell you guys to just not to quit. I'm getting emotional right now because I've just passed my 20th year trading the markets, and I remember my first 5 years trading, my first 5 years, entering these markets, the financial markets, and not even knowing what anything was. And it was so hard because it was so hard for me because I was trying to learn the art of actually trading. Like, what is this thing called the financial markets? What is this thing? Because I grew up from a landscape gardening background, meaning like my father owned a landscape gardening business, so I went and worked for him. Rockeries and gardens and sprinkler systems and different grasses and retaining walls and all that sort of stuff. So that was my background. It was landscape gardening, or landscaping. So when I entered the financial markets world, I didn't know what the financial markets world was. So I went down what's called the discovery phase, and you guys may be there right now. And the discovery phase for me was like, let me see if I can just turn this. There we go. Okay. So the discovery phase for me was, you're discovering these markets, aren't you? Right. And unfortunately, that takes a lot of time. Unfortunately, it doesn't have to take a lot of time, but it did for me. And the reason why is because, you just don't know what you don't know, right? So especially if you guys been trading the market, say less than 5 years. I remember my first 5 years, I was buying all the courses, right? I was doing all the seminars, and I would fly around the world to see traders and get coaching and do different programs and see, and then because I'm going through the discovery phase, because I didn't know anything about the market, so I'm discovering the market. What's this thing called technical analysis? What's this thing called a chart? What's this thing called a pattern on a chart? And then all these different indicators and all these different things, right? And you go and you go and you go, and then you start to see that, and then you start to see the different styles of trading where you can do like more like shorter term trading, where you're getting in and getting out really quickly, and then you're pretty active, right? You might be taking 2 or 3 or 4 trades a day, and you're pretty active in the markets. You're looking for opportunities to take take trades and looking for trades that way, right? Because you're like, okay, I want to try to make an income. I want to try to make an income this week, right? Because you're like, okay, if I can make $200, $300, $400 a day, if I do that every day, that's a good income for me, right? And so then you go down this path here, and so I learn all these different things out there. And after about 5 years, I found myself within the first 5 years. I don't remember exactly when, but within the first 5 years, I found myself $250,000 in debt. Now, how that ended up coming to pass was the truth about that debt was I started to trade really well. Like I started to get a lot of traction, and I started to do well. And the way I was actually doing well back then was I was trading the way that I trade now, meaning I was looking at the market the last half an hour a day, and I started learning from my very first mentor, and this is when I started learning about options trading, and trading options. Now, what I was doing is I was looking at the markets the last half an hour of the day. I was looking to see what happened on that day, and I was looking for the get in that next day, and then 2 or 3 days later, I'd look for that short-term move on the charts, and then I'd get out, make 50, 60, 70% profit sometimes, 80% profit sometimes, on that. And that's the way that I started to do really well, is I started to trade that method. Now, I was trading that method, but then I was also learning a lot about the whole, futures markets and all that sort of stuff. And then what ended up happening was, I I actually went down a path where I bought a house, and it was actually a private sale of this house that I bought, and it was a private sale. He was selling it privately, and I saw this house, and I called him up, and I bought the house privately. I bought it off this guy, and he saw my finances, and then he saw my trading account. He's like, "You trade the stock market. You're doing quite well right now." And I don't remember the exact numbers, but he goes, "Oh, can you do something for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem. Like, I can help you out." And so he lent me $200,000. Right, so he lent me $200,000 at that time, and what ended up happening was the thing that happened at that time, and I'm just trying to make sure that I make sure I tell you guys about the situation here, was the truth about that at that time was, when I got the money, I sort of freaked out from him. And so then I started looking to see where I started getting access to these fund managers and stuff like that. And so I said to him, listen, I don't feel comfortable in trading your money, investing your money. Like, I don't feel comfortable doing this. This is your money. But there's this fund manager who says we're doing 5% per month. How about we put it over there? And he agreed. He said, yeah, no problem. And I gave all that $200,000 that my mate lent me to this fund manager, right? Because I'm like, oh, this is not my money. So I gave it to him. Now, when I originally signed up for this $200,000, I personally guaranteed him a $50,000 profit at the end of 12 months. So at the end of 12 months, he'd get his 200 grand back plus a $50,000 profit. That's what he was guaranteed. Personally signed, guaranteed to him. But after we signed that and he sent me the money, then when I called him up and said, listen, I don't feel comfortable, let me do this, I sent it to the fund manager. Anyway, so the fund manager within 12 months actually went under and went liquidated. I got about 10 grand back after all that. And so therefore, that's how I became $250,000 in debt. And then now the guy who lent me the money, that same guy was now threatened to bankrupt me. I didn't have a lot of money back then. I had about maybe 50 or 60 grand back then in my account. So I didn't have enough to cover that, and then also the legal expenses and so on and so forth. So, and it was at that time where I started to freak out, right? And then I started to get under the pressure. And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this video here for you guys, because I know right now, right, it can be quite tough, right? You got bills and expenses starting to rack up, right? And you're trying to get ahead in life. You're feeling the pressure right now, right? And you just want to get ahead, and you're trading the markets, and you're spending a lot of time doing that and learning that. And then when I started to feel the pressure, I started to trade really bad. Prior to this, when there was no pressure, I was working my normal job at the time. And then I'd be looking at the markets, half an hour a day, making my decisions. And I started trading really well that way. Like, the pressure was off, right? And when the pressure was off and I didn't have to trade every day, because I didn't have to rely on it, I actually started making more money. I started doing really well. But then when the pressure was on, holy shit, I've got a $250,000 debt, and and I've just married my wife and all that sort of stuff. Holy shit! And so then the pressure was on, right? And it's something really weird. Prior to this, I started trading well, because the pressure was off, and the reason why I was trading well is because I didn't need to trade every day. There was sometimes where I went for a few weeks with no trades because well, there's actually no good setups right now. I'm just gonna wait for a good setup. That was my mentality. And then something what happened is when I started to realize that I needed to make this money back, that's when I went really heavily into day trading. And so that's when I started spending 6, 7, 8 hours a day, sometimes 10 hours a day, looking at all the markets, right? Trading all the markets. It was the futures markets, it was the stock market, it was all these different markets out there. Oh, by the way, guys, if you'd like to learn the actual trading system that I used, if you go to John's Free Training, or there should be the first link in the description there, johnsfreetraining.com. I teach you my number one trading system I use to this day right now. Out of all the systems, my number one trading system I use, and I teach you that for free on. I just teach you that for free. So go to John's Free Training and I'll teach you that. And so then when the pressure was on, then I started trading shit, man. I think I had maybe 60 grand back then, and then within like a few weeks, I blew like 10 or 20 grand of that really, 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 really quickly by trading a lot. Go. I've got to make money. 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 And the pressure was on. And then I started going backwards even more. I'm like, oh my goodness, oh shit, I have a mortgage payment now, and I've married my wife, and and I'm trying to take care of her, and I've got this big debt on my back right now. And then on top of all that, now my friends are telling me that all my friends are saying, you're an idiot. I told you shouldn't get involved in these financial markets. It's, and who do you think you are? And I told you weren't smart enough. And then my mother and father-in-law started having a go at me. And I was like, oh, shut the fuck up. Leave me alone. Oh my goodness. And it was so tough, right? It was so hard because I didn't understand a lot about what I now understand now. And so one thing I started to realize a lot so much here is that I was trading really well when I didn't need to make the money. But and the reason why was because the art of just waiting for good setups, I was making more money, maybe taking a couple of trades a month on really high quality trades, having my losses, and looking for good quality setups than I was looking at the market because I was, I've got to go, right? And some of you guys may be there right now, right? You may have something happen to you. You may be in a situation where you may be looking at the markets for a few years right now and you're just struggling, right? You're watching a lot of these YouTube videos and you're struggling. And I wanted to do this video because I really want to sort of impart on my journey is that when I started to sit back and realize why was my mentality, right? It was the over trading. And I'm seeing a lot of traders right now, like they're getting in and getting out and getting out. I think the market's got to go back up. Oh, this YouTube video, right? And they're like this. That has never made you long-term success in the markets, right? This whole What's made me so successful in the markets is being okay with not taking a trade. The thing called patience, right? There's a thing called patience. And that's the hardest thing, right? Especially when you need to make money back, especially with me back in the day when I had to have $250,000. I had to pay this $250,000 back. Otherwise, he was going to send me bankrupt, even though he said he was okay me giving his money to a fund manager. I personally, who cares? I signed the paper. And so then after all this said and done, I end up losing the house. I had to move in my mother and father-in-law, spare bedroom, and we just slept on a mattress on the floor, and man, that was fucking shit, absolutely fucking shit. I'm like, here we go, all right? Because everything was just getting really, really tight. And so through that process, I started to really learn the art of what does it really take to get ahead in the market this year. Right, the way that I'm thinking about these markets, trying to make money every single week, trying to trade a lot every single week. There's something not clicking here, right? And that's when I started to realize that there's this thing called 7 trades to 6 figures, right? I'm going to put up on the screen right now. And when I started to see this here, I'm just like, there's 7 trades, right? So that's 7 doubles starting from $1,000. Now, obviously, you wouldn't start with $1,000, but it's a template, right? It's a template for you guys to understand. Once I started to realize that I don't need 7 trades a week this year. I need maybe 10 to 15 trades, 10 to 15 really good trades this year. Some are going to be losses, some are going to be small profits, some are going to be big profits. But if I can start to identify just even one really high quality setup that's likely to make a good move, and I only get 10 to 15 trades of those this year, I'm likely to do really well. And that's when everything started to switch. I started to understand the nature of how do I have a really good year this year? And then when I started to notice this pattern, that's when everything started to really shift for me in a big way, because I started to, and the hardest thing, right, was then actually every day waking up and not taking a trade, not being active. And that's when I had to work on the mindset of a successful trader. The mindset of a successful trader is that patience, right? That discipline, that consistency, showing up every day, week after week after week sometimes, and not taking a trade. Because then I realized that I'm only, as I said before, I was only 7 really good trades away from having a 6-figure trading account. And then I was only 10 really good trades away to having $1 million trading account. Right? Now, there's obviously a lot that goes into that. So, once I started this, everything started to switch for me. So, traders, if you do need some help with all this sort of stuff and you sort of resonate with this story, then I can help you out, right? There's a lot of things I can help you out with. If you go to getjohnshelp.com, that's JOHNS help.com, getjohnshelp.com. That's an application form for my Inner Circle program where I'm basically with you. Sometimes I'm with you every single day for an hour, really holding your hand and coaching you and walking you through, everything I've talked about today, the mindset, the thinking habits, the mistakes you're probably going to make and all that sort of stuff. If you're down this path and you really need some help, then I know I can help you. So I want you to do this right now. I want you to go to getjohns, JOHNS help.com, and I can really help you, right? Have the right thinking